Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time out to tune into Let's Talk Construction. My name is Emmett White. I'm your host for this afternoon. Today, we're going to take a few minutes just to talk about some of the upcoming events that's scheduled for this month. We have the Self Built Homeowners Seminar, which is scheduled for the 17th of February in Freeport. I would encourage those of you who have not registered as yet to please do so. We have a limited amount of seats. It's promised to be a very informative and educational event. This event is really, good for those of you who want to save thousands of dollars uh, during the course of your construction. It puts you in the driver's seat, so you can really actually manage your spending as well. So that's something I would encourage, to for those homeowners who are interested in managing their project and in a tight way, so you can gain the best possible cost out of it to attend this event. Then we also have the first time homeowners seminar, which is scheduled for Elutra. That will come on the 24th of February. That's another very informative and educational event for persons who are in the starting process of building their home. I would encourage all of you who are in that process to register. Um, this is something that you don't want to miss. All right. There's too often times when homeowners, you know, decide on building a home and midway through coming out to the end, they discovered that they have a situation, and you have a situation either with the builder, the architect, or you might want to blame something on the Ministry of Works, what they are not to be blamed for. So homeowners also should be aware that you, the homeowner, has 90% of responsibility for your project. It might sound crazy. You say, okay, but hey, how could that be? And I hired the building contractor. Well, unless you have an owner's rep who's representing you, you're the homeowner. All right. You, the homeowner, take on the full responsibility of the project. Okay. Don't get me wrong. We have some good contractors out there. All right. But they're outnumbered by the unscrupulous contractors. We have, like I said again, we have some very good contractors out there who will give you, what you're paying for, and they would guide you through the process. But they're outnumbered. We have a lot of other persons who are involved in construction who is just there just to make it and move on. All right. So this is where education falls into place. You need to educate yourself so you could also know what to ask the building contractor, what to ask the architect, and get the feedback from them. All right. That's the importance of my events, is to arm you with the pertinent information so you would have the tool and the necessary tool to approach when you approach them. Okay. Know what to ask. The next thing is the misconception. What most homeowners have is, pricing. They would go there. Most homeowners, they'll say, okay, look, reach out to the contractor. Could you please provide me with a cost to build my home? 90% of the time, the homeowner doesn't know the cost of the home. You don't have no idea what the home is gonna cost, the value of the home for construction. That's where one of the problems starts. The second problem is you have, in some cases, a plan that is incomplete. So if the contractor is pricing this plan, all right, and you have a lot of information that's missing out. You have some window scheduling are not there, um, hardware scheduling not there. You there again, you put yourself in a situation where you now have to be, you would be accountable, all right, to evaluate exactly what the contractor is pricing, all right. Did he price for a sledge hinge or sledge lock? There's a big difference. Or did he price for something out of the hardware, the typical hardware you'll find, where you for average hinge, you probably pay $3. All right, but the contractor, on the other hand, he may have priced for the hinge what it costs $100, but you, the homeowner, is not aware of that. Once again, this is where the education come in. All right, it may not be a big deal to a lot of other persons, but to you, somehow the homeowner, that could be an issue because hey, I'm spending my money and I'd like to get the value for it. Quality control, and these are some just running through some stuff. These are some of the things for the first time homeowner, which you should be aware of. Who's protecting your interests? That's one of the big questions you should ask yourself when you embark on going to start your construction, or even before you approach a building contractor. Who is protecting my interests? Okay. And once you arrive at that question, that answer, then you know where to go. Very few of you have anyone protecting your interests. You're at the mercy of the developer or the building contractor. And that's another thing. We have a conversation on developers as well. Because mostly the homeowners, we have some good developers out there, and we have some unscrupulous ones out there. Okay. And what amazed me most of the time with homeowners, and this doesn't speak to ladies, I'm talking about men and female. All right. You look at the finished product, you just walk in there and you just say, wow, this home, but you don't realize the amount of, in most cases, shortcuts what has been taken. All right. Material wise, you might have been the contractor or I would say the drawings may have stipulated that you use a particular type of material. Let's say, for example, pine treated. Pine treated costs more than a spruce. So the contractor, he realized, hey, look, I may have underpriced this job. It's pretty tight. So what I'll do, he tell the carpenter, look, hurry, put that in place. Or before they put it in place, they already prime it. So you as a layman, you don't know any better. You're excited. You see the house going up, shelves. Of course, the shelves are supposed to be a particular type of material, but they're all prime before they install. So you as the homeowner, you're expecting, these things to last you. And of course, we all know home is that's an investment, expensive investment. You want that to last for, a long time. But in most cases, you will find that homeowners, in some cases, I'm being honest with you, before that home is turned over, and I've seen this happen, before the homeowner is turned over to the homeowner, some of the materials already start to decay. I've seen it. All right. And I believe I still have some photos in some instances. I'm going to display them to some of the seminars. Okay. There again, in many cases, these stuff are covered up. You came in, the homeowner comes in, and then they say, oh, good, they're making great progress. They already start priming, and you're excited. You're excited. All right. Not knowing that you're getting roast. You're in the gallows. All right. So there's a lot involved pricing back to pricing. You have a situation for many years, for years. It was a myth where you have real estate appraiser using appraisal value for construction. All right, which is totally wrong. Some now have betrayed themselves to being quantity surveyors. All right, there again. All right, homeowners need to be aware. All right, that the real estate value is not something you use for construction. No. All right, you do not use real estate value for construction. This has been going on for over 30 years. And in most cases, because they're not using the proper calculation, your project's undervalued. So this is why you have most of the contractors, all right, persons who, and there again, I'm going to clear this up. Okay, we have some very good contractors out there. I myself, I'm a building contractor, over 30 years experience in the field, hands-on. Okay, so this does not apply to all of the contractors. I am just here to share some light with you, with the homeowners, all right, on how to protect yourself. It's bottom line. So those of who think that, hey, look, you don't need the seminar. Listen, the seminars of the price to attend the seminars are very undervalued. All right. It always because I want to share the knowledge with you. Nothing else. All right. If it could be much more expensive, 120 per person. But because what I've seen happen over the past 30 years, all right, mind you, I spoke about this on numerous occasions during my talk show and some of the other stations in Nassau. Got some pushback, but that's a story for another day. Listen, you either learn now or you pay later. Simple as that. Simple as that. You learn now for small cost. I think one of my events, I think I charged $20 or whatever. All right. You can spend $20 to learn. Don't spend it and lose for $30,000 to $40,000 or even more. Because the crazy part about it is, once the work has been done, it's hard, it's extremely difficult to get that contractor or that person, that individual, to have the work redone. In most cases, after the work has been done, I'll use plastering, for example. If that wall wasn't scratched properly, didn't allow time to cure before you apply the browning. And with the masons they have today, I don't call them qualified, some of the masons they have today, they use string line to rod off. They don't use squeed. So time is that wall, they don't brown the wall and rod it off. And God forbid if you have some nice lights in your boxing and they shine down during the evening, you would see the cobwebs, you would see how uneven the walls is and all of that stuff. By that time, hear me clearly, after that process has been done, it's extremely difficult. There's no coming back. You could plaster over it, but it would not bond because that base has already been applied to with the browning. So that's like do it first the right time, the first time. Okay? It has to be done first, correctly the first time. So there's a lot as a homeowner. Now, if you don't care about it, then so be it. All right, but many homeowners are paying mortgage for these homes. All right, and It could be what, 25, 30 years or whatever. But you're going to find you're paying this absorbing amount of money and you're not getting the value for your money. All right. Now, you can touch on some of the inspectors. These same inspectors, apparently, some inspectors who come out, they turn a blind eye. And unfortunately, you as the homeowner, you rely on these inspectors to have your interest, but they're not. Many of them don't have your interest. And in most cases, many of them don't even have the experience, many of them being wrong because things have been done incorrectly for so much years. They themselves are part of the problem. Okay. So you need an independent person who is not attached to no one. But that's a story for another day. But like I said, the first time homeowners seminar is that's a very, very important seminar. We had it in Freeport last year. We're going to do it again in Freeport. We have a good lineup for Freeport, both Freeport and Nassau. We're going to bring it to Nassau also. Okay. I have a team on the panel, who's going to really, bring some light to things, all right, and empower you with the correct information. All right. So yes, please, if you haven't done so, please sign up. All right, please sign up. So let me just touch back on to pricing. The last thing you want to do is ask a building contractor for a price if you don't have a budget. Okay. I had a number of persons reach out to me, say, hey, Mr. White, I'd like to start my construction, And I said, oh, nice, that's nice, that's very nice. I said, you have a budget, you have an idea on what it's going to cost? In most cases, said no. In other cases, a few said, yeah, I have a budget. I said, okay, who prepared your budget? Some cases they said they had a contractor assistant with it, and others, of course, they had a real estate appraiser. So I said, hey, that's the first mistake you made. Okay, that's the first mistake you made. What you want to do is engage a quantity surveyor. All right, engage a quantity surveyor so you can get a budget. That's what it does. See, a professional quantity surveyor, he doesn't dabble into any other work other than pricing. All right. That's where he spent his time. Pricing. That's what the job detail, construction cost pricing. Once you get that pricing, then you put yourself in the driver's seat now to say, okay, well, all right. If you have a owner's rep, you also could discuss, or you have a project manager, discuss and review the takeoff and the costing. And now you put yourself in the position to say, okay, well, I know the exact cost for this home to be constructed. Once that is done, then you send out invitation to bid, all right, to your contractor. Whether you use your brother-in-law or you send out proper documents, invitation to bid. All right. Now, come on. You don't have to send it to 10 persons. All right. There's no need to send it to 10 persons. All right. Three, it depends on the size of the projects. Three, I mean, you already have your budget. You know, three is sufficient. Three or four max. All right. You don't need to go beyond that. I don't think you have to go beyond that. You already got that in place. All right. You give them the time. The bid documents will specify some of the requirements, if the allowance, unit rates, and all of these stuff. I'm not going to get difficult. I'm going to try and keep it in layman terms as much as possible. So you already talked, like I said, you already have your budget. The documents go out. All right. There's a specific time frame for them to get it back to you. You now get these documents. Your bid came in. You, your owner's rep, or your PM, your project manager. All right. He could review them, evaluate it. All right. To see if anything is missing, what the contractor may or may not have included. So now what you're doing is you're comparing, all right, the contractor's price with your budget you receive from the QS. Note, I said with the budget you receive from the QS, not what you receive from the bank, not what you receive from a contractor or a friend. QS. Please keep that in mind, from your QS. No one else. All right. And you could go from there. All right. That's like I said, that's very important. You don't want to take any chance with that. Okay. So you already got your quotes in, you evaluate them, you decide on who you're going to go with. Okay. Now, before you decide on signing the contract with the persons, the developer, whomever, please, for the love of God, get a schedule. All right. Before you make any payments, get a schedule from the contractor. All right. During the next show, I would perhaps show you what a schedule looks like, because I had an opportunity to see some of the schedules, so-called schedule, with some of the homeowners had received to carry out their construction. And for the life of me, I'm trying to figure out how could you track it. There's no tracking system. It's just something, okay. It's more a stage payment for the contractor, for you and the contractor. That's all it is. Okay. And that'll be another topic we're going to touch on, scheduling and the importance of it. All right. Because once you have that schedule, it puts you, the homeowner, in the driver's seat. If you're not familiar with it, your PM or your owner's rep can assist you. All right. And this is another part of the first time homeowners seminar. Is listen, when you leave my events, you're empowered. I make sure that you understand the process. All right. I empowered you with the information as a builder and as a PM. All right. No, you would not be doing takeoff and managing the construction project, but there's some basic information that will help you survive the construction process of your home. And that's what you need. You need to come out the gate knowing, once the contractor or the developer know, okay, well, this person know what's going on. All right. They pull up their socks and they say, well, this person is knowledgeable. The power of information. You need that. You cannot, and I must stress this, as a homeowner, you cannot compete with a contractor. You're not going to be there 24/7. All right. You cannot compete with a contractor. And this is where most of the problems start. Because even, for example, if your plans miss with the elevation, and I've seen a situation similar to this, all right, where the homeowner went to one of a friend of a neighbor or a friend, and she saw a particular type of arch, and she said she stressed to the contractor, "Hey, that's what I want on that wall." All right, the contractor just put a one with a lintel, square, and that was that. And that was a big blow up. All right, nothing in writing, nothing on the drawing, nothing on the drawings. In fact, that particular elevation was missing. Okay. Now, if the homeowner had someone to review the plans before she sent it out to the contractors, the bid, chances are that would have been picked up. And that's another aspect of the first time homeowners seminar to inform homeowners, all right, who are going to review these plans. Oftentimes, we have some plans that homeowners don't have a lot of information on it. Information what the contractor would need so it could guide him through the process, all right, and it would not be you say, I say. Because what happened there? The homeowner decided she would just tell the contractor, take him by the person home, show him what she wants on the particular wall. Chances are he may have forgotten. All right. Or it could have been a case where he's like, look, she wants this arch and all of that. That's going to cost more money. I didn't price for that. So it could have been a couple of things. But the fact that it wasn't, now, of course, it didn't happen. He didn't bill it as per what she showed him. So there's a big confusion there among some other stuff. All right. So what you had there now is you had a situation with, persons that got upset and nothing on the drawing. So who win that battle? The contractor. Sometimes you would find homeowners, this is where when I started much earlier, I said you are responsible for about 90% of your construction. You brought the plan to the contractor. You requested a bid. You signed the contract documents. You signed all the sheets of the architectural drawings. Okay? You sign off. So the contractor, he's going to bill. He should bill, in most cases, from what you have on the drawings. Now, if something missing, and then you, on the other hand, want to come back later on and change it, all right, it's going to cost you. Not only that, you now have to accompany that, either do an addendum, a change order, all right, with the necessary documents to show that individual exactly what you want, height, width, exactly what you want. Not telling them, taking them next door and showing them, no. In some cases, that may work with some contractors. But if you have a contract, and in many cases, it doesn't. And it costs you at the end of the day. All right. This is where knowledge comes in. Now, once I'll compare this with a self-bill. Now, if you're doing the self-bill, then you're scot-free. All right. Because now as a self-bill, you're entitled to make all those changes. All right. Because you're in control of the project. All right. So I'm going back to I just wanted to marry that into the self-bill and come back to the first time homeowners seminar, in parts of it. So there again, you have a situation where you have to be, you have to be knowledge. You should be knowledgeable of what's going on. You know what should happen, when it should happen, and you know try to prevent certain things from happening. All right, and this is where the show comes in. It empowers you so you can start asking questions. Hey, was this included with this? I already with my drawings. All right, before I pay this architect or this draftsman, like I said, I think I might have touched on it earlier. Like, we have some very good architects. I've worked with many over the years. All right, who are very detailed, very professional. Now, so just like the construction, I like in many cases now you have a lot of persons who branched up and they say, look, they drawing too, they're architects too. So rather than you might be paying $7,000 for your your drawing, the other person will say, hey, look, man, I can do this for you for $3,000. All right, but what happens then? All right, are they apples? Are you getting the same information? Chances are you may not. Okay. Chances are you may not. When you compare seven, or if your drawings might be $13,000, and they say, hey, man, okay, we can do it for $6. You say, well, why is you charge me all of that? Okay. And this is where it comes down for the architectural review. So before you pay that individual where you go at that low price, I suggest that you help someone review the documents to ensure that everything what you would need before you send it to the architect, before you send it to the contractor, is on the drawing. Because in most cases, I had a situation where, on the same thing, in most cases where you have, when you already pay these individuals, it's very difficult for them. If you miss out the elevation or you miss out a structural detail, a structural section, it's extremely difficult for you to get that information. So now you're at the mercy of that individual, or now you have to now decide to say this, because at the contractor, if you're doing with a reputable contractor, he's going to tell you, listen, before we could proceed any further, I need this information. So your job could come at a standstill until this information is provided. And if it comes at a standstill, the costs now start to escalate for the contractor. And if it escalates for the contractor, he has to pass it on to you. In the meantime, you have to find out now how you're going to get this information. Okay. If the individual don't want to provide it to you, you now have to go and find, if it's a structural detail, go and find a structural engineer to draw this for you. That's extra cost on you. That could have been avoided had someone review these documents, all right, and hold that individual to the foot to the ground and say, listen, now, before we can make any payments, any additional payments, this information need to be provided. Now, in most cases, it's on a larger scale. All right, in most cases, some architects, and it's a cost. All right, they retain their services. You retain their services until the project is finished. All right, in most cases, well, I would say in most, it's a cost. All right, you can retain their services, and they would be there in case a situation like this arrive, and they would deal with it. Okay, because you already paid them in full for the drawing, so it's something they will overlook, and it happens. It happens from time to time. All right, it always. I won't say time to time. It always happens. Some information, might have been missed. All right. In some cases, the contractor would pick up and say, look, I need this section in order for me to work this out. I need this height, this measurement. All right. So there again, that's the importance of that architectural drawings, and the same apply to the mechanical, the plumbing, you know, the electrical, um, all of these stuff. Same applies to that. Your landscaping depends on the scope of your project. The same applies, and normally that all come under the umbrella. In most cases, unless the owner decides on taking on that responsibility, all of those individuals comes under the umbrella of the architect. Okay, comes under the umbrella of him. So once again, if you're embarking on building your home, first time homeowner, even a second time homeowner, because in most cases, you know, you had a rough time doing the first process. Some persons I met, they said, "Hey, never again." They don't want to go through it. It was a nightmare. Um, you know, um, the developer did this and the contractor did that. And listen, I don't know which one to say is good or bad, the developer or the unscrupulous contractor. Because you have some unscrupulous developers out there. I've seen, listen, you know, the homeowner saying, I just want to buy and finish. And so worst cases, like, yo, you better off billing because you don't know what you purchased it. All right. The shortcuts. I mean, the amount of shortcuts. I just shake my head. I say, wow, okay. There's a lot of shortcuts that are taken. All right. It's sad, but that's the way it is. It's been going on for years. Right, it's been going on for years. I've seen sadly, but 25 years ago, I've seen a lady. I don't know if she recovered yet. Listen, she flipped out. All right, she freaked out. She went crazy. She was a nurse. I'm gonna call her name. Owned the cost of it, about $450,000. Um, tell you a story. I have a lot of stories, but 425. All right, this is in the eastern area. Nice, nice home. I always pass for the home. Um, to this day, I always look at it and I said, wow, how unscrupulous person seems to be on top of the game. All right. For various reasons. I mean, you have the homeowner. Now, they go to their way, they advance the payment, they makes the payment to the contractor. Stage payments are released in most cases. There was a particular bank around that time. My goodness. I went on, and that's another story. I mean, the guys was getting the money. So the homeowner, someone pointed out to me. I went by and did an assessment of the property, and I'm like, when I compared about the a stage, she gave me the documents, and I compared what was actually done and what has been approved to date, to that date, the payment. I just was amazed. All right. I was amazed. And this was about 25 years ago. This problem still exists today on a larger scale. All right. On a larger scale. So I'm like, how is it possible for the contractor to get a stage payment? All right. And the stage hasn't been completed. Signed off. Okay. The flip side of that is the lady was responsible. Back to what I said much when I started the show. You're the homeowner. You are responsible. Okay. You, the homeowner, remember this. You're responsible. Okay. What was so amazing there, I mean, and just disturbing more than anything else was, like I said, funds were released. This lady, she probably only had about $50,000 more in the kitty, okay, to finish this home. It was nowhere near completion. You heard me? No plumbing test was done. In fact, some of the plumbing lines was in it. Apart from that sloppy work, terrible, terrible work. But funds still would have been advanced. Again, the homeowner, you, the homeowner, it's your responsibility. It's not the appraiser or whoever doing the inspection. Responsibility to ensure that you have that quality, to ensure that the work done is done correctly, to ensure that you have the correct hardware, plumbing fixtures being installed, what you requested, what you put was price for. You the homeowner, that's your responsibility. All right. The moral of my story, that homeowner, she flipped out. She went crazy. Husband, they separated. Mind you, he was involved in it too. I met him there a few times when I went there. In fact, they brought me on the tail end of it. There's very little I could do or say. I just gotta write a report, and I'm gonna do the. I'm not gonna show reports on my show. Okay. But at the first time, it's a lot of things would not be revealed on my live on the streaming live. All right, there's a lot. All right, these will be revealed. You would have opportunity to see them at the events at the first time home one of the shows, or self build, or one of the other seminars I'll be hosting this year. Okay, so after doing the assessment, provided a tour, the documents and everything. I told her, I said, I'm extremely, sorry for what happened, and asked how it got to this. She said, well, my husband was coming to do all of this, but of course he wasn't aware of what's going on. He came, he looked at it, everything looked nice, walls going up, frames in, and my goodness, you could have walked on the floor. I mean, you could literally walk on the floor and feel that the tiles were not double. All right. So most of the stuff with 50 grand, and it was like 400 some $1,000. The recourse of that was on her. So catch this. She went to the bank, she carried my report, she showed it to them. I'm only going for half an hour today, so I'm looking at my clock. In up like 4 minutes. She explained the situation to them, and they told her, "Listen, Miss Susie, that's your situation. You have a mortgage to pay. The best I guess you could come behind and refinance. All right, refinance." So she had to now go and refinance, right, to finish this house. And that didn't even work, because then to refinance it, she didn't have the security, the additional security to get what she needed to do it. And yep, she flipped out. I saw a few, during that time she was on Page Street. My heart went out to her. She was just, man, it took her. Listen, I'm not saying that this is going to happen to anyone. I've heard so many stories, So many stories. I mean, your homeowners, even the ones who are completed. I walk in. Few times I was invited to some homes, and home was excited, show me, hey, so what, show me and everything. And I look and I say, man, all right, the floors. I mean, the guys them paint up the hinges, and the homes did, whatever, I said, one time I said that you specify that you want a painted hinge. I mean, you look at the crown molding, terrible. The cuts are terrible. I mean, in some cases you see where the putty is just cake up in the corner, you know, and they're excited. So I'm like, wow. So I don't dampen their spirit, I say, hey, okay, awesome. But listen, you're the homeowner, you deserve more. All right. You deserve more. If you're paying, I always have to say, if you're paying $100, all right, or $100 million, you should get the value for that. You, the homeowner, need to start holding developers and contractors accountable. All right. Hold them accountable and get value for your money. In most cases, I'm telling you, in most cases, you don't. In most cases, you don't. People only have 5%, but very good contractors out there. They're outnumbered. They're outnumbered. But listen, running down, there's about 2 minutes left. I'm excited about the Self Bill. We'll pick up that another time. The Self Bill, which is scheduled for the 17th. Please continue to register for the event. It promises to be a very, very informative and educational event. All right. You would get to see how you can save your savings, the advantage of doing a Self Bill. All right. The Self Bill basically is you become the contractor. Okay. Most times, in most cases, some of you have been doing it in the past, but you just call, you have your some maybe an ASU and you say, hey, look, I want to do this, and I'm gonna start on foundation, and then do the slab, that sort of thing, and then you want to get the carpenter to do this and do that. In most cases, back then, you didn't have no one policing to assist you with it. Now you have someone who could guide you through the process. All right, and then show you how you can save. All right, but not just doing it that way, but you want to do it correctly. You with me? You want to do it correctly. You don't want to just have someone to come in to do it, and then you get a bum job. All right, I have a situation where where a lady, she was doing it. A couple of factors she had, issues she had. The drawings wasn't uh, completed properly. All right, she tried to do it. She was not familiar with the. I mean, I felt for this just 2 years ago. Oh, yeah, 2 years. Yeah, going to 2 years now. All right. She attempted to do it that way, and the contractor, not the contractor, but the guys took her for a ride. You know, when I look at her documents in which she agreed to and didn't agree to, I had to tell her, I said, sweetie, unfortunately, you set yourself up. All right. You set yourself up. So the proper guidance. And I must say, I believe some were very successful in pulling it off, but that's but probably 1%. So the Self Bill, like I said, puts you in the driver's seat. All right. You have significant savings. I've done it in Nassau before officially launching it a few years ago. Okay. Was very successful over there. A few years, well, it's been some years, more than. But yeah, time flies. Very successful homeowner. One homeowner I met, it was significant. I would say the savings online. I mean, he just couldn't believe it. Okay, couldn't believe it. Had an awesome savings on that, and with that savings, believe it or not, he was able to put some of that aside and do some other upgrades. That's how great the self-build is, you know. So what you doing in the self-build? As a GM, you cut out the GC overhead, you cut out the subcontractors overhead. All right, you're getting everything at net cost. Now you don't necessarily be there overseeing the project. Okay, you either have your PM doing it or you have your owner's rep assisting you doing it. Okay, now you want a person who's going to be accountable to you now. Okay, these individuals should not be touching your money. You hear me? Not be touching your money. You are in control of your money. You should be in control of your money. All right. Because it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot of savings. And then you'll be, interacting with the trades if you like. You could do that. Transparency is key. Okay. So, I would encourage you to those of you, in Freeport who want to get some more insight on the home of the self-built, to come on down, sign up and let's have a conversation. I'm looking forward, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing you all again in Freeport. And I'm also looking forward to seeing the folks in Luttrell and Nassau. All right, Nassau, yes, y'all have been, I received your inbox. It's scheduled for March 2nd, Saturday, by God's grace. I will be there. You do the self-build, and right after that, we have the first-time homeowners schedule to come on stream there as well. So until next time, I would just like to say, good evening. Thanks for taking the time out to tune in, and we'll have another conversation again. Good evening.